Now at 9:14, Oklahoma County Sheriff John Wetzel won re-election just in November, but he just announced he would retire amid an investigation into mismanaged county funds. Now, Under Sheriff P.D. Taylor is taking over as interim sheriff, and he joins us now to talk about that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
There's a lot going on here. Earlier this year, we know there was an investigation into the sheriff's department, mostly into the finances. An audit was conducted at the request of the Oklahoma County District Attorney, David Prater, and he said in March that the investigation could result into criminal charges being filed. Since then, the sheriff, John Wetzel, retired. I think people honestly just want to know, what in the world, what is going on? What's going on here? What would be your answer?
Well, I really honestly believe Sheriff Wetzel did an outstanding job. He took the sheriff's office from the 50s into modern day with equipment, computers, grants. I think one of the reasons he just stepped down, he was tired and worn out. He was tired of fighting for money. There was certainly, I agree, there was certainly no mismanagement or any money missing. I think he just got tired and stepped down for a new face to come in and possibly free up some money and change direction.
Then why run for re-election? You know, I think that's the question everybody's asking, and I think voters feel a little cheated. You know, why run for re-election if you're going to retire or resign just a couple months later?
Well, I don't disagree with that at all. I know I was disappointed that he decided to do that. I didn't get any heads up. I found out about it a day before the rest of the world found out about it, and I would have liked to seen him stay and totally clear his name. But here we go. It's a new sheriff in town, new direction, new vision.
And now there will be a special election, which will cost taxpayers some money to hold this special election. And we know you are also throwing your name into the ring to drop the interim and be the permanent sheriff. But a lot of our viewers chimed in about this, and like I said, they're just confused. Jonathan says this sounds a little fishy, accounting that he was just reelected a few weeks ago. Not to mention, he said he was aware of the allegations. I think people are hesitant and maybe even paranoid. What's going on at the county jail? What's going on as far as the sheriff's office goes? We know that there was a jail that they wanted to build, and now we're wondering where the money is, where there are mismanagements of funds. But you believe that there's no money missing and the funds were managed correctly, is what you're saying? Yes.
And we've been talking about a new jail. The jail's been an issue since '91 when it was opened. The jail's crumbling, it's falling apart, the design's poor, but the jail's certainly got to be one of my top priorities. If we're in a position where we can never get a new jail, then we need to piecemeal it, and let's get started in getting things we need right now that would make it better. If the voters never approve a new jail, we certainly need a new receiving area. We need a facility there close to the jail that would house people that's mentally ill. Serious problem. A lot of people that has mental illnesses in our jail,
right?
And they probably should not be there, but there's no other place to put them. The state's cut back. There's no facilities, so we house a lot of them. We certainly need that so we could take care of the people with mental illness instead of just throwing them in jail. We need a new receiving area. Ours is totally archaic, it's outdated. 50,000 people a year is booked in and out of that same area.
So I hate to jump in here, but in the sake of time, where is all the money going? You're talking about how the money was managed properly, but now you're listing off all of these things that are really expensive. Where was all the money going? We have listed here, you know, cars were purchased that shouldn't have been purchased, different things. Would you have done things a little bit differently?
Certainly.
You would have done things differently, okay.
Certainly, and that's why I'm here today.
Okay.
New vision, new direction. I've been saying I look at the sheriff's office as a huge battleship in the ocean, and the ship's beginning to turn. We have some great employees. They're professional. They do a great job in all areas, and it's unfortunate you never hear about that. You only hear about the jail. But there's so many issues there. But where I was going a while ago, things as simple as the kitchen and laundromat in that jail, it needs to be up on the ground level. The building's full of mold. You have all this moisture down there, and it's downstairs. We've had issues where the water was cut off. It took 2 weeks to build the pressure up to the 13th floor.
Oh, I remember we covered that. We covered the flooding and a lot of issues going on at the jail. Really quickly, let me ask you, did you have a choice to take over as interim sheriff, or did they just kind of hand you this position and say, as under sheriff, you are now the interim sheriff until we find a new one? Did you have a choice in this?
Well, yes, I could have walked away, but
Okay.
I mean, this is a challenge.
But this is something you wanted to do.
Yes, without a doubt. This is something new. I'm very positive. Morale's up. I think the decision was made off the district attorney's opinion that the number 2 person would step up and take over until there could be a special election. The governor kind of threw me a curveball. I become interim sheriff March 2nd. The election's April 4th. So it didn't give me much time, but I'm working day and night.
All right.